How you doing, baby? What's up, guys? It's video number one. Hopefully on the channel. See if I can edit this. This might not be posted or not, but we're trying it out. See if we can edit some little intimate things right here and there, right here and there, right here and there, right here and there, right here and there. Did that for too long. Jumping into this right away. This is a dream of mine, and I'm beyond excited to at least try this out. This might not even go up, but I'm hyped to see what this could become. If the editing is bad, your boy's bad right now. It's day, I don't know, 3 or 4 with this bad boy, this masterpiece of this it's a laptop. So we're gonna do what we can, but right away, my boy, Jerick McKinnon. Start with Jerick first, but we have a couple of things I want to bring up about the 49ers. So 49ers had their first season under Kyle Shanahan as head coach in 2017, which I believe is a brilliant move. And their stats look good, especially at the end of the season with Jimmy G, my boy. 49ers were in a three-way tie with Carolina and Minnesota in 7th place with 15 rushing tutties, but that's kind of skewed a little bit. Let's see, 5 of them were from quarterbacks, 3 with C.J. Beathard, 1 with Jimmy G, and 1 with Brian Hoyer. But as far as the other 10, that was 8 with Carlos Hyde and 2 with Matt Breida. They're 14th overall in yards per carry, so that's a bonus for running backs. And then every other stat as far as rushing, it wasn't beautiful. They were 20th and like 21st in every other category, like attempts, yards, which kind of go hand in hand if you know football. As far as like throwing to the running back, they were actually very, very good. They're 3rd in RB target percentages and 2nd in RB targets. So these running backs who are pass catchers, not really in 2017 because Carlos Hyde wasn't necessarily. He's more of like a power back. I mean, one-cut monster. And Matt Breida certainly doesn't catch, but that's really good. Carlos Hyde had 88 targets, while Matt Breida had 36. 36. And Kyle Juszczyk had 42. So Juszczyk is still in this offense, and same with Breida. So there's, let's see, blah, 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 blah. 88 other receptions to be consumed. Wow. 78 receptions to be consumed in this offense. Carlos Hyde had 88. Juszczyk and Breida had 78. So back to percentages caught by the running backs, which was 2nd most, or 3rd most, correction, sorry. They had 27.8% of the targets in the offense. So that means like throwing to your wide receivers, that's a percentage. Throwing to your tight ends, that's a percentage. And the running backs is a percentage. That's 3rd most in the league, which is tons. The only 2 that weren't were the New Orleans Saints and Chicago Bears. I don't know how Chicago's up there considering Howard doesn't necessarily catch. Tariq, it's probably Tariq Cohen. Yeah, also, well, downside here is they had 2 reception tutties, and that's nothing promising for the running backs. 2 reception for the running backs for touchdowns. So nothing promising, but they never really had a pass catching back in that offense anyways. Also, they have the 8th most passes in the red zone. So 58% of the time they'll pass, and that's 8th most in the league. So you're above majority of the league. They also have a 14% success rate passing to the RBs in the red zone, which is more than their wide receivers, their tight ends. So they do like passing in the red zone. That's kind of like a Kyle Shanahan, like what he's known for, like passing to the running back, making that running back active in the red zone. Definitely going to look good this 2018, especially with Jimmy G. Pro Football Focus rated their O-line 16th best coming into 2018. 2017, they had the 10th best run blocking defense and the 18th best pass blocking defense. So middle of the pack O-line in 2018 should be expected, but maybe look for more. So yet again, I said Kyle Shanahan runs his offense. He's the head coach. Let's see. He's a beast with running backs. Examples: Devontae Freeman in Atlanta 2015, 2016. Tevin Coleman. You can look at 2016. He was, he's a beast there now. He's going to be a beast in the future. And then we can also look at Carlos Hyde this 2017 season with Kyle Shanahan, who, I don't know, he isn't really a pass-catching back necessarily, but he definitely proved some numbers in 2017. Additions to this offense. They had Dante Pettis, a wide receiver from Washington. He's drafted in the 2nd round. Big addition here to the O-line is Mike Miglinski. He's a tackle. He's their 1st-round draft pick with from Notre Dame. He played with Quentin Norris, whatever it is. I'll look it up. They also picked up Jonathan Cooper, who's a free agent from Dallas. I don't think he'll be starting. I think he's a backup guard, I believe. And then Weston Richburg. He's going to be a starter. He's a center from New York Giants. So he'll start, and same with Miglinski. Maybe I can't say that, but probably the most biggest addition, in my opinion. Jerick McKinnon. So I want to jump into some Carlos Hyde facts. So Carlos Hyde is a 5th-year back, actually just like Jerick. Interesting. He's spent all 4 in San Francisco. 2016 was his best year, but he only played 13, so definitely more electric in 2016, but he only played 13 games. 2017 was his first year that he played all 16 in the league, which, improved his health and, maybe more upside, but we're not here to talk about Carlos. He's in Believe land now, which, best of luck to him. I hope things go well, but we'll see about that. Let's see. He rushed 240 times for 938 yards, 8 tutties. Technical. Tee him up. 88 targets, and he had a 14% target share, which is, yet again, ridiculous for a back. I think he's up there with, like, Alvin Kamara and stuff like that for a percentage of target share within the offense. Granted, who was in their offense in 2017? Pierre Garçon, Marquise Goodwin before he was, booming. George Kittle, Garrett Selleck. They didn't really have that much in 2017, so that's a high share. But you can argue, like, what's different this year? They have Jerick and maybe Dante Pettis. It depends if he starts or not, but we'll see. He also had the 5th most red zone carries, so yet again, this is kind of stressing. There's so much to, like, be consumed here. There's so much that can be, like, taken over by a new back, specifically someone I'm talking about, or Matt Breida. These stats are real, and I believe this is because Kyle Shanahan. I don't think Carlos Hyde is that skilled of a back. That's why I don't love him in Cleveland, but I really believe Kyle Shanahan is kind of like an offense whisperer, and his key is his running backs. Now on to Jerick McKinnon, their new free agent that they picked up in this 2018 offseason. He's a 5th-year back out of Georgia Southern, and he spent all 4 years with the Vikings. He has a 100% spark score, so that's like your athletic ability. I think that's your agility, your sprint score, your like 4-yard dash, your bench press. He's in the 100th percentile. So this guy is a ridiculous athlete. Might as well start off. I'm from Minnesota. So I've seen this guy play, and he looks solid. That's why I'm so excited. He's definitely 100% spark starter because this guy, he's crazy. He's crazy. I really like him. But watch some tape. Maybe I can plug something in where you can see how electric this guy is. He hits hard. He runs fast. Really, I mean, 49ers fans should be excited. With that said, he only started 14 games, which is a little concerning. In those 14 games he started, none of them he was like the sole back, like a Le'Veon Bell or anything like that. He always split time with either Matt Asiata in like 2016 when AP went down or was just non-existent, or now 2017 where Latavius split time. But I think it's a little skewed, some of his numbers, so keep in mind some of these numbers are going to seem a little like but you got to keep in mind he never had the opportunity to be the guy. There's always a second guy. You can argue, oh, he didn't earn it. Well, maybe he wasn't given an opportunity. That's what I think. So he averages 4 yards per carry and 31.1 yards per game. So that skewed number, that, splitting time with those splitting times with those backs kind of affected him in a negative way, where you're running, you get rolling, you look good. But if you come off the field for a series, 2 series, 3 series, you lose all your momentum. So there's kind of a downfall of McKinnon where he didn't really get that full time to be a player. 8.2 assist attempts per game. Yeah, that's because of split backfield. He's also a pass catching back, so a good one too. So he's got 6.9. Woo, 69. Yards per carry, or yards per reception. 17 reception yards per game. So that, yet again, skewed numbers, because not necessarily that Matt Asiata and Latavius Murray are pass catching backs, but when you're on the field less, you're going to get more, less targets because you're not on the field. When are you going to run? How are you going to run around when you're on the sidelines, That obviously wasn't his choice, but, And then he had 2.4 receptions per game. Solid pass catching back. Yards per reception is impressive. Not the best we've seen, but yet again, not always on the field. He's a solid rusher too. I think we underestimate how good he was. 4 yards per carry is solid. I don't think Melvin Gordon even cracks 4 yards per carry, and Melvin Gordon was being drafted in almost first round this year. He's an outside rusher more than an inside rusher. There's areas in the rush game that he's not necessarily best at. A and B gap, I'll explain later. A and B gap is not where he excels. The C gap and D gap, that's where he makes his money. That's where he's going to make his money in San Francisco. This preseason, we saw him start for the first team, so that's obviously a promising sign. But as of August 12th, he had a knee strain specifically. MRIs came out and no structural damage, so he'll be good. I'm not sure if we're going to see him for the rest of the preseason, but I guess we'll be the ones to judge that. So our next guy, Matt Breida, second year back. He was there first year in San Francisco. He's actually from Georgia Southern too, so same place where Jet went. So, there's a connection there. I'm sure they get along well. They never played together though, so there's no teammates. He has an 88th percentile spark score, so not as athletic as Jarek, and there'll be numbers that I can prove that he's not as athletic and agile as Jarek is, so advantage Jarek right away. In 2017, he had 105 rushes for 465 yards and 4.4 yards per carry, which better than Jarek. More carries than Jarek, I believe, too. So, this guy's a runner. He's a solid runner. I believe in him. But there's some issues I also have with him. As far as pass catching, if you're a PPR player, he had 36 targets, only 21 receptions, and that ultimately comes out to 58.3% catch rate, which is not what you want to see if you're getting him for PPR or like as a starting back. For Kyle Shanahan to throw to a running back is beyond important. And it kind of worries me that Breida doesn't really catch that well with a 58.3%. That's not promising. McKinnon, on the other hand, has a 75% catch rate and on 68 targets and 51 receptions. More volume, so obviously you're going to take more volume. McKinnon also has more history, so he's proven every single year, like, hey, I can average 75 catch percentage. So, screens, maybe doing a couple routes out of the backfield. So that's why I think advantage McKinnon as far as that. Oh, is Breida going to take time from McKinnon? Going on to the next thing, I guess, there is a concern with Breida being the workhorse. So I believe Breida might be 5 pounds. No. Breida's an inch taller than McKinnon. McKinnon's 5'9". Breida's 5'10". But McKinnon's actually 5 pounds heavier than Breida, which is interesting how Breida's going to be the workhorse, like, down to 1 and 2 back, but McKinnon weighs more. I don't understand how. So Breida's specialty is the A gap and the B gap. So the A gap is to the right and left of the center, and then the B gaps is to the right or to the left and right of the guards. Maybe one of these days I'll figure out how to make a chart. So then for McKinnon, he's more of like a C gap, D gap specialist. So C gap would be the insides of the tackles. So in between the tackle and the guard is kind of where he makes a living. And then D gap is actually to the outside of possibly the tight end or a blocking wide receiver. So kind of more out in space where he can make athletic moves where Breida might not be able to make the cuts, the moves, the jukes, the spin moves, and stiff arms like McKinnon can. Also, a bonus for McKinnon. Tackle is where San Francisco is talented. So they have Joe Staley, common name. People know who Joe Staley is, one of the best tackles in the game, and has been for a while. And they just drafted their first-round draft pick, Mike McGlinskey. So, he's talented. If he's starting already, we could expect, a really talented player that is going to help McKinnon thrive in that backfield as a pass catcher, and a runner. And then final note for Breida, he's actually doubtful for week 1 against the Vikings in the preseason game against the Cowboys. Breida took on a blitzing linebacker and something happened in his shoulder. There's no structural damage, so it's not like season over, but that's something to keep your eye on. Like, look at the reports, injury reports. We're not going to see him for the rest of preseason, so just keep your eye out on reports, or your ear out for reports, I guess, and just stay tuned for any other updates. So in conclusion, for the scramble, the mess, and what everyone is trying to decipher in the San Francisco backfield, both of them have injuries we need to watch for. The knee's a concern for Jarek. Of course, any running back will have leg issues, but a knee's pretty serious, so we need to keep an eye on that. But also, your shoulder is too. Breida might not be able to throw blocks like he did in that preseason game because that's going to be a lingering shoulder issue, and I would keep an eye on that for sure. If he can't block, why is he going to be out there? But ultimately, why I think McKinnon is the better back is pretty clear. McKinnon's a better catcher. He's a better athlete. He's a better rusher outside of like the tackles and out in space. He's more experienced. He's penciled in as the number 1 right now. And there's a lot of stats for the 49ers you should like in 2018. New quarterback, experienced coach, electric player. Matt Breida, the most I can say for him is he's a better A and B gap rusher, and he might have the short yardage advantage. So 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, maybe some goal line work, but I can also see McKinnon going out for a pass or, yet again, a run to the C or D gaps. Wraps it up, boys. Like, comment, subscribe. Do you support my opinion? Is Burrito the better back? Do you believe in San Francisco 2018? Please drop the comment. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. Peace.